Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Mornings with the Outlaw here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw, John Rocha, and I'm excited to be doing our first show live from San Diego, the new studios here in San Diego. Still figuring out the lighting in this place. Sadly, one of my light bulbs broke, so I'm trying to make it work with just one lighting and a little bit of natural light as well. So that'll be fixed before the end of the week for sure. But I'm excited to be back here this morning with my co-host and the lovely and talented and very intelligent and sharp as hell, Alex Shashek. How are you, Alex?
Man, I'm so excited. Not because it is a Tuesday. Thankfully, it's a Tuesday. This is how I know what day of the week it is. Because what day am I doing stuff with Rocha? It's a Tuesday. Oh, okay. So tomorrow I'm doing this with Rocha. So it's definitely Tuesday or Thursday. That helps narrow it down. Yeah, I'm excited. Today is, buckle up, y'all. This is going to be a wild ride of stories. So.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot we got going on today. The new 355 trailer dropped this morning. Of course, there's been some news about Dune and the Batman being pushed. Glow, sadly, has been canceled. And there's a new casting for that Game of Thrones prequel series that's happening on HBO that we're pretty excited about. But as I just mentioned right now, Alex, take us away. Let's jump into this 355 trailer conversation. And before we do so, please don't forget, Streamlabs and SuperChats are how we power the Outlaw Nation. It's how we power Mornings with the Outlaw as well. So please send in your Streamlabs, send in your SuperChats. Already got so many things happening here. Ben Rayner's already sent in a Streamlab, which we'll get to in just a second. But please don't forget, you got the Streamlabs address right above Alex's head, or you can find it in the description of this video itself. And send in your SuperChats right on the side here. I'll read them and pull them up for us all to talk about. All right, Alex, please take it away.
Guys, let me tell you something. Picture five girls walk into a Cannes Film Festival. Okay, there are Lupita Nyong'o, Penelope Cruz, Marion Cotillard, Jessica Chastain, and Diane Kruger. That's
Kruger. Yes.
And Diane Kruger. And they walk out with a $20 million film deal. Okay, that's what happened. In 2018 at the Cannes Film Festival, at the time, it was actually the biggest selling property of the entire festival. It was a huge commodity. It sold for distribution rights for over $20 million. It was considered a huge deal. And they sold it on the premise alone, which is 5 awesome ladies representing 5 amazing countries as really cool, badass spies. Now, you're probably thinking, what's the big deal? I'll tell you what the big deal is. It looks so good. Okay. It looks so flipping good. Oh, yeah. Forgot to mention Fan Bingbing. Hey, girl, what's up?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Fan Bingbing is making her debut back into cinemas through this movie. If you're not familiar with who she is like one of the biggest, Chinese movie stars internationally. Yeah. She's so big, the MCU was like, hey, let's put her in a movie. And they did. They squeezed her right in, even though she technically had no purpose, and some extra scenes for China. And, that, and she was also in, what is that movie? X-Men Days of Future Past, I believe, as a mutant. But, this is a movie that is set to come out in January 15th. It's directed by Simon Kinberg. And if you don't know who he is, even better, because he's not a great director. Because he's not a great director. He's only had a few movies under his belt, including X-Men Dark Phoenix. And we all know how that turned out. But he's also more known for being a producer behind the scenes. He was involved with The Martian, Fantastic Four. He was involved with Logan, so even though he's not known for being a reputable director, he's definitely has a lot of connections, a lot of people behind the scenes. So when this trailer dropped this morning at 5 a.m. or wherever it was, it caused a ruckus. I'm so excited. It's like a mixture of it's like a spy version of Ocean's 8, only cooler. You feel me? What are you thinking, John? What do you think about this spy, women's focused spies?
Yeah, I think what you said right now is perfectly right. It actually felt like an Ocean's 8 spy type of film. And we've seen so many films that bring a bunch of actors together. The Expendables, a million of these other films that have done the male version version of this. And, it's about time we had a little bit more of the female version of this. We can't keep rebooting Charlie's Angels and thinking this is somehow the way, to do this over and over again. I love this aspect. You get Jessica Chastain, who's a badass actress, of course, seen her in a number of things that we really enjoyed her performance in. Then you got Lupita Nyong'o getting her British accent on, her natural British accent on. Great to see her doing that. Got Penelope Cruz up in this, like you said, Fan Bingbing, and Fan Bingbing, and then Diane Kruger, who, like Diane Kruger, I always go back and forth with as an actress. I think she's way better in a natural German than she is when she's trying to do American stuff. Like I enjoyed her in Inglourious Bastards so much more than I ever enjoyed her in the National Treasure movies. So to see her kind of being, and they're all embracing their origins. Now, I know there was some flack, and as a Latino, I can speak on this. I know there was some flack that Penelope Cruz, who is Spanish, is playing a Colombian agent. But hey, one step at a time. I'm cool with her. I mean, what are you going to see? Sofia Vergara in this? That isn't going to really work. You want someone who's badass like Penelope Cruz. And she's almost playing, when you mention Ocean's 8, kind of that Sarah Paulson character, because she's worried about her kids or at home. She's like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. This is, I've moved on from being the spy life. This is my life now. So all of this stuff that they're confronting, the Lupita Nyong'o and her boyfriend, or maybe husband, I'm not sure what the relationship is there, but he looks like he gets threatened in the trailer. Jessica's the one that doesn't seem to have any emotional ties to anybody, which makes natural sense for her to be the leader. But you get some good action sequences, some good fighting. But I'm with you, Simon Kinberg. That does not inspire excitement from me personally, considering how all the things went down with Age of Apocalypse. I'm sorry, with Dark Phoenix. But it was so funny that amongst the wreckage of Dark Phoenix, this film came out of it. Him and Jessica Chastain having conversations on the set, as you mentioned, creating this idea. So, I mean, it took some time to put it together. And of course, Fan Bingbing is an interesting addition to the cast because she had been kind of hiding out because of tax issues. She ended up paying $100 million in back taxes and fees and what have you. And now she's reemerged. And one of her first roles out of her reemergence is in this film. So overall, I thought it was pretty cool. I need to see a little bit more. I don't know who the villain is. We know Edgar Ramirez is in this. We know Sebastian Stan is in this, but we don't know who the villain is. Just some I don't know, innocuous general idea of a computer villain or people that can destroy things through a computer. That's not enough. So I'd like to see a little bit more in the next trailer about who the villain actually is that they're pinpointing. But this was a really good trailer to introduce you who are the ladies involved in this and how their chemistry is going to be. What really stood out for you from this trailer, other than it being overall just badass? What really stood out for you? Was there a scene? Was there an action moment? Was there a bit of dialogue that really stood out for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So watching this, I watched this twice this morning when getting ready. I watched it back to back, because I just wanted to catch everything. What I kind of admired most about this movie is just there was a very consistent vibe. It's very, very focused on action adventure, which I appreciated. There was no moment where like in the newer Charlie's Angels, to be honest, it's not a great movie, but I actually had fun with the newer Charlie's Angels movie with Elizabeth Banks, but as bad as it was. But there's that moment I was like, oh, we all look at clothes. See, it's a girl movie. You can tell because I look at clothes. And there's kind of, sometimes there's those random ridiculous little moments where you're like, I guess, whatever. But I was so grateful there was no moments where we're bonding. See, we're shopping or something, right. So I was kind of waiting for, especially I kind of expected it to for a moment like that to kind of pop up in the trailer. Yeah,
you do get afraid of that.
Yeah, especially in movies where it's kind of, I hate to say it, but it's directed by a man, it's co-written by a man, and I kind of expected as a result for have just a casual scene like that, and maybe we will see it in the future. Who knows? But it was a very consistent vibe, and it was also very aggressively international, which I really appreciated as well.
Yeah, definitely. They make a very good point to lay that out. United States, United Kingdom, Colombia, Germany, and China. All these people are involved in this. We do get we do get those scenes where they're looking great in their dresses and how they seduce to get or trick to get the information there at that dinner at the whatever it is dinner auction scene or whatever auction. That's it, auction. Whatever's going on there, we do see some of that, but of course it also leads to some good action sequences there, some fighting going on on, also in the elevator, all of that. So I'm cool with this overall. I mean, like I said, it's not the biggest thing to have Simon Kinberg directing, but you do get Teresa Rebeck being one of the co-writers on this. So you do get a woman's point of view on this. Also having Jessica Chastain and Kelly Carmichael producing this from their Freckle Films production. That helps as well. So, and Richard Hewitt, who just produced Bohemian Rhapsody and The Theory of Everything, is executive producing this thing. So there's a lot of talented people involved in this, and there's enough, I believe, enough strong women involved with it behind the scenes. We're going to make sure you're not having those kinds of scenes that you just spoke about that have been the default scenes with other films like this. This is going to be pretty badass. I just want to see a little bit more of the plot throughout the next trailer when we get it, because overall I'm in. Now let's see where these ladies are supposed to go, and what is the conflict that happens between them, because they all seem pretty powerful alpha women in their own rights, and they must be the cream of their crop in their respective countries in their spy agency. So what's that going to lead to in terms of confrontations? We have that scene with Diane Kruger near the end of the trailer where she says to her, to Jessica Chastain, "Are you in control?" And she goes, No, I'm not. And, okay, what does that mean? So I like that idea that we're going to get more than just all five of them going, women power. There's going to be actually complexity and nuance to this. And I want to see some more of that, because you've got some great talent in this cast. Rare is right.
He's like, Jessica Chastain, rare. Yes. Love it.
Yes,
no,
queen.
There are two hesitations behind this.
Yeah.
As much fun as I had with the trailer.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, well, technically, I guess three. One, the director being Simon Kinberg,
Right.
He's not exactly one to, to really get me excited or inspire.
Totally.
That's inside, like you said, but it kind of makes up for the fact that there's so many awesome people, other people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Now, another thing is that it's getting released. It said the trailer dropped today, and it said January 15th. And let's be honest, when it comes to January right now is considered, the real dumping ground of movies.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of movies, like, for example, The Grudge. You remember that movie with John Cho and Betty Kilpin? I love Betty Kilpin, if we're going to get about to close here pretty soon. But it doesn't expire. That if you were going to talk about the date itself, the date itself, assigning it to that month in particular, really doesn't inspire confidence, because it shows a real lack of confidence in the movie's going to make. But I don't really contribute the lack of confidence to the movie itself. I think that just refers to considering what's going on right now. And they said that it's going to be going directly to theaters. It's not going to go to Amazon or Netflix or Hulu or anything, or just the general VOD. It's going to be an actual in-theater situation so far. Yeah. And, with all the announcements we're going to get to here pretty soon about more and more movies being pushed back, with No Time to Die, with Dune and everything, it really makes me surprised that a bigger budgeted movie like this, it costs like $75 million to make, I want to say, would be like, totally settling in, making the announcement for that January release date.
Yeah, and it could be, and look, I agree with you. Like, January is still the dumping ground for a lot of films that they're not sure about. And that does give you a little bit of pause when you see that release date being January 15th, 2021. It is coming out, at least right now, theatrically coming out on 2021 in January. But we always hold out eternal hope, those of us in this field and the pundits and of course fans who watch movies as well, that there'll be that one film that comes out in January and shocks everybody and blows the doors off the box office and really makes people excited. And there's no better time than all these months of not having content that was supposed to be released and everything getting pushed in 2020. January 2021, if people are starting to feel a little more comfortable about going back to the theater, and we don't know what the deal is with that overall. Right now, it doesn't look like they're that comfortable. Well, we don't know yet fully until we have some more films come out. This could be a film that maybe doesn't get people in the theaters in high numbers, but it'll at least excite people to possibly go take a chance and go see a fun action movie that they can just enjoy with 5 quality actors having a great time in this movie. But then again, it could just be a film they're dropping in January because they don't believe in it. They don't think it's that good. And like you said, Simon Kinberg directing it does not inspire confidence. But you hope this ends up turning well because of all the people involved in it. For sure.
Well, something I do want to pinpoint real quickly and to everyone in the chat, is that just want to let you know there are good movies that do come out in January. There are exceptions to the rule. Paddington 1 and 2 are released in January. Just want to put that out there. One of my favorite action adventures, Count of Monte Cristo, was released in a January. Fish Tank. I love that one. Taken. Oh my gosh, Taken. Now that's a father-daughter movie. I ever saw one. Cloverfield. So we can talk about all day. Oh, absolutely. From dawn till dusk, half baked. Thing is, it's just because a theater thinks to itself, just puts it at this date, it doesn't mean it's surefire going to be a great movie, a bad movie. I mean, we can't. That doesn't guarantee anything.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And, that is the default thing to think about because that's been the standard, but there are exceptions to the rule for sure. And it does happen. So maybe this is one of those exceptions. We'll see. The chat seems split right now. Some people are on board with it. Some people aren't. Some people felt it was kind of meh. Some people are excited about it. So, that doesn't necessarily bode well for the trailer. You want to see uniform love with maybe an occasional person not liking it. This feels like it's split right down the middle. So I think a little bit more in the next trailer. I think it has a little bit more work to do in the next trailer to get people overall excited about it. But if what we're seeing in this trailer is making people feel meh, then who knows if it's going to even actually be released in the theaters. It may just go down to streaming or digital. But at this point, you got to give people hope that something's coming out in the future. But right now, it doesn't seem like that's a possibility. We shall see for sure. All right. Yeah. Mortal Kombat is a possibility too. And that we'll hear more about that as we go along. All right. Let's hit a couple of these Streamlabs. Remember, the Streamlabs are open. Super chats are open. Send your suggestions in, your comments in, your questions in. Give a little love, a little support to the Outlaw Nation and to the Mornings with the Outlaw show that I do here with Alex Shashek. Ben Rayner was the first that donated. He said, hey, John and Alex, hope you guys had a great weekend. John, congrats on the move. Thank you very much. Here's a question for you guys. If you could bring one actor back from the dead to have dinner with and pick their mind, who would it be? For me, I would say Robin Williams. That's a great choice, Ben. Alex, is there an actor that you would like to bring back from the dead to have dinner with and pick their mind? All right.
Maybe Doris Day.
Doris Day.
Doris Day, or
choice.
What's her name? Elizabeth something, Cleopatra.
Elizabeth Taylor. Yeah.
Elizabeth Taylor. Oh my gosh, she's had an interesting life.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like a lot of those classic Hollywood actresses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that would probably be my pick, honestly, personally.
I'm gonna make a completely out there pick. Yeah, I know some great suggestions from the chat already. Marlon Brando, Paul Newman, Charlton Heston. Those are great suggestions, Scotty. Some people might say James Dean. Some people even might say Chadwick Boseman, who just recently passed. That could be someone you could bring back from the dead and sit down with. Alan Rickman, yes, another great choice. Heath Ledger. Here's my choice, John Cazale. And the reason is because John Cazale went on the greatest runs of films you could ever go with in the 70s. He was in Godfather, Godfather Part 2, The Deer Hunter, Dog Day Afternoon, and then, of course, he was married to Meryl Streep, or he was dating Meryl Streep. So to sit down with him and talk about what it was like working with a young Pacino, a young De Niro, a young Robert Duvall, a young Francis Ford Coppola, still figuring out who he is, a young Sidney Lumet, all these experiences, De Niro, I already mentioned De Niro, I guess, but all these experiences, and then, what it was like to be with Meryl Streep at that time as she was coming on as an actress and what she went through. So it would be so awesome to sit down and talk with him about the experiences on the set. We've heard from De Niro, we've heard from Pacino and Duvall and all the people who lived a long life or are still alive with us have spoken about those experiences. But I'd like to hear John Cazale's experience as the kind of the heralded actor. And they all talk about how much they respected him as an actor. He was also a theater actor as well. So I thought that would be awesome. Yes. What was it like to play Fredo? What was it like to play Fredo? What was it like to be in Dog Day Afternoon? What was it like to be in all these films and see everything happening around him? So that's the guy I would have. I know there's easier choices, obviously, but someone like John Cazale was a character actor who was very respected by his own peers at the time. It would be so great to hear him talk about the craft and talk about working with these people. So that's my choice. That's my choice. Great question there, Ben Rayner. Thank you. All right. Andrew G said, I was worried about finishing the first Dune book before December. Now I can read the entire series 3 or 4 times over. Yeah, we'll get to that story in just a second. COVID could suck a sandworm. I guess Denis has more time now to really finish it and deliver something incredible. For sure, Andrew G, and we'll talk about that in just a second. John Doe says, good morning, John and Alex. So time for a fight to the death. Dutch from Predator versus Rambo from Rambo 2. A fight in the jungle, no weapons or equipment, just a knife. All right, Alex, what do you got? You have Stallone from Rambo 2 or Dutch from Predator, Schwarzenegger?
I've never seen Rambo.
Oh, no.
I've never had a desire to see Rambo. So I was like, I have seen one of the sequels, but I hated it so much. So I was just like, never gonna watch any of the others. Just not gonna do it unless I have to, for like if I'm writing questions or something.
Oh right, yeah.
My gosh, I'm watching so many horror movies right now.
Yes,
but I have seen Predator once.
Good.
So I'm gonna go with Dutch from Predator. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Dutch as well. Not because I don't love Stallone. I love Stallone, but I'm going to go with Dutch as well. And I think the reason is because Dutch fought off an alien. Dutch killed an alien predator. So to me, that kind of gives him a one-up in this situation over Rambo. Look, Rambo did incredible work on a human police force in a small town in Washington with a knife. I respect that. But later on, he had those exploding tip arrows when he went back to Vietnam, and then in Afghanistan, what he did there, and then of course in Burma, and then of course the last one when he went down to Mexico, which I like, and I don't care what anybody says. But in the end, you have to go with Dutch because Dutch did it all against an alien predator, and so I think he just has to give the edge to Schwarzenegger on that one for sure. And Alex, yes, First Blood is a must watch. I think if I could come back on to Cinema Bias, I would want to do First Blood with you and Drew. So
we can see
the first one. It's really good.
We can say about making that happen. I think it's growing up, my bias, I just want to give you a real quick thing about it. My bias is I didn't watch it until very recently because my dad hates those movies.
Oh, wow.
And I grew up in the military. I grew up on military bases my entire life. And my dad actively really does not like those movies. He considers them like military propaganda. He considers them like completely ridiculous, horrible depictions of vets, mercenaries, soldiers, and war itself. Okay. And so he was like, growing up, he was like, Alex, no, you can't. So yeah, that is just like ridiculous. And the stupid movies. Wow. My dad, he was just very anti those movies just because, he didn't like the way it represented, violence when it comes to wars. He thought it really celebrated it, and especially being Southeast Asian, and several of them I think several of them take place in Southeast Asia or somewhere in Southeast Asia. And he's like, it doesn't sit well with the people in our family that have been to war.
That's fair.
That's fair. Go figure.
I can totally respect that. I have not seen a theater of war. I did serve for 8 years, but I've never seen a theater of war. But I respect if a person who served and a veteran does not really like those movies. I like the first movie because I think it's a strong statement about what happened to Vietnam vets when they came back to this country. After that, it does become war propaganda. It does become a standard vehicle for Sylvester Stallone. But that first movie is a really damn good film that explores, and it's based on the book from David Morrell, who wrote about coming back from Vietnam and what that experience was like for a lot of veterans and to a country that hated them for a war they hated themselves. So it's a lot of stuff to explore that and that. And then it becomes what it becomes. So, but that's why First Blood is the one you really need to watch. But anyway, I get it. If you never want to watch it.
So in that case, maybe is it the only one that I need to watch?
Yeah, I think
I've seen the most recent one.
1,000%. I think it's the only one you need to watch. Every other one just becomes fantasy stuff. The first one is really
Yeah, I saw the most recent one and I hated it so much. Like actively, I was just like annoyed and angry the entire time. Like,
I know some people didn't like it. I loved it because it's a great revenge film. I always love revenge films, but I also have
I get that.
Years of seeing those films.
Yeah, there's like why does it have to be so much fridging? Like what purpose?
Oh yeah, well that's a fair point too. John Cooper says, "Hey John, Alex, and Kat, hope your day is going well." Thank you, John. I like the cat's become the third co-host of the show. I appreciate it.
I dig it. Yes, the cat is. But the cat is, I don't think he's here yet. He's not here. He's not hanging out with us right now. He left the room. He's probably snoozing on the couch.
All right, let's move on to our next story. Remember, we only have 45 minutes left in the show. Please send in your Streamlabs and your Super Chats. We like to get above a certain amount. Maybe I should start broadcasting what the amount is so we can keep this show going. It is a show that does get a lot of views, but doesn't get the most financial support. So would love it for you. And maybe it's early morning. You guys are like, I can't even deal with it right now. But hopefully, down the road, you'll be donating more and kind of keeping the support going for this show because we do enjoy doing it. We thank you so much for watching it. All right, our next story is about Dune here, Alex. And by the way, 355 is set to come out January 15th of 2021. So set your calendars if you want to watch that. All right, this is coming to us from my boy Jeff Snyder over there at that outlet. And he's talking about Dune. He's got the exclusive here that Dune has been moved off its December release date and now will be pushed to October 1st of next year, October 1st. Incredible. The film stars Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Dave Bautista, Jason Momoa, Stellan Skarsgård, and Javier Bardem. It was supposed to come out on December 18th. And at the time, a source told Snyder that Warner Brothers was confident the marketplace could support multiple tent poles as it has every year on the holidays. But with no vaccine in sight, Jeff writes, Americans have remained reluctant to return to theaters, even though no new COVID-19 cases have been traced back to the cinemas. Of course, seeing what happened with No Time to Die being delayed, which caused Cineworld to announce it will temporarily close all of its Regal Cinemas locations in America, which is still without its top-rated media market in New York City. Those are the issues that roll through this situation as well. It is said that when Regal made that announcement, it sent shockwaves through the industry, forcing all studios to reevaluate their plans. So far, Wonder Woman 84 is still on schedule for December 25th. Disney is still scheduled to be releasing Soul in November, although I don't think that's going to happen. But Dune itself is the big one. There are other ones we'll talk about in just a second, but Alex, let me get your thoughts first. Dune now moving to 2021. This wasn't an issue with, apparently the film's done. Apparently the film was going to be done on time by December 18th, no problem. So because it's being split into two different films. So Alex, are you upset that we're going to be having to wait until October of literally a year from now to see this first section of Dune?
Guys, I do want to stress the importance when I say this, okay? I just want to put it out into the universe.
Okay.
When I say I'm okay with waiting for a movie to be released in theater, I'm okay with waiting for my favorite future movie of all time, Dune, to be released in theaters. I'm okay with waiting for it to be released this time next year, personally, because this is a movie I need to see on the big screen. Yeah. This is my Wizard of Oz. This is my Rambo.
Okay.
Apparently. And so, as a result, though, I'm okay with waiting a stupid amount of time in order to see this. I don't want to see this at home. At least not for a while. I do not want to see this on demand. This is, with all the visuals and all like the big epic, sci-fi world and scope and everything. This is a movie that demands to be seen in theater. And honestly, I do understand what he says about, talking about how no cases, no confirmed cases have been linked back to theaters. Right. That's true. But technically we can't, be like no confirmed cases have been linked back to theme parks, but we're not going to open theme parks. Are you crazy? Like, because of obvious reasons, because, people are going to sit close to each other and a lot of people don't even wear masks. It's a whole thing. And so when it comes to this movie, just take your time, honestly. I'm so grateful that they're like, Priorities. I got you. People are literally dying, out there. And so got to put it in perspective. As much as I want to see these movies and so many more movies, putting in perspective, I definitely 100% understand.
Yeah, it's getting a bit like we're starting to see this over and over and over again. And, a lot of us are speculating right off the bat as soon as a film gets moved from a few months to like a lot of people speculated that eventually Bond was going to move and we'll see and it happened. And now we speculated about Dune, and now this is happening. So it's no real big surprise. I mean, I guess they figure, look, if we're going to make any money, we know this was going to come out in the fall. We wanted to have some kind of Oscars contention or Oscars consideration, so we have to put it out in the fall. Let's wait a year, not all the way until next December. Let's wait a whole year and see what the buildup is, what the hype is. I just wonder, Alex, so many films coming out right now, at least in 2021. I mean, at some point, you're going to topple this whole thing over. And you've got Regal Cinemas closing down. You've got AMC having their bank loan possibly being called in. What could that mean for AMC if they have to close down a bunch of theaters across the country? And not reopening theaters as you start to get will there be employees anymore? Because these people need to live. People can only live off unemployment for so long. They've got to get another job. So will they have moved on? Will there be people who will come back and work in a theater knowing it's an unstable environment in terms of security for money? Because another outbreak could happen on this COVID situation next year, and then boom, everything is shut down again and you're back in the same boat. So I wonder about that as well. And this COVID seems to have accelerated what was already going to happen with these theaters eventually down the road. COVID has just accelerated it. So how many of these theaters will want to reopen with just middle of the road movies? They'll want these big tentpole pictures like Dune and like other films like Bond and what have you. So Wonder Woman. So this makes so much sense for them to wait till next year. They want to be an Oscars consideration. They want to come out in the fall. It's a fall movie, and they want to put it out on the big screen. Like you said, they don't think that this movie should be seen on a smaller screen right off the bat. Too much money's been spent in it. The cast is massive. So I think it makes a lot of sense. But we also see other things happening as well, Alex, with this push. Batman was supposed to come out on October 21st of 2021, but that's also been moved now to March 4th of 2022. The Batman. Now we have to wait a year and a half to see the Batman, unfortunately. And of course, The Matrix 4 is actually being moved up, which is really interesting. It's now set to open on April 1st of 2022. Oh, no, sorry. It was set to open on April 1st of 2022. And now it's debuting on December 22nd of 2021. So that will be the Christmas film of next year, Matrix 4. That got moved up. Also, the studio also plans to release 2 yet-to-be-announced films on June 3rd, 2022, and on August 5th, 2022. And that's Warner Brothers, the studio we're talking about. The Flash, which of course stars Ezra Miller, has left its June 3rd, 2022 slot and now has moved to November 4th. And Shazam 2 has been pushed from November 4th to June 2nd of 2023. So we're not even seeing Zachary Levi as Shazam for another 3 years or 2.5 years. It's insane, Alex. And Black Adam, which was set for next year, next Christmas, has been moved as well as Minecraft, and they've been taken off the release calendar completely. So a lot of movies being moved around or taken off. It's insane right now.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a weird situation we're in. And I know John Cooper, he posted a super chat just a little bit ago with something I was actually just about to point out, is that, it's becoming a very crowded and weird year, and, thing is, movies are subjected to move. And now I don't have a schedule out in front of me listing all 5 million movies are going to be potentially released next year. But again, it's every day announcements are made where things are moving around. Things are going to video on demand. Things are going to be even pushed even further back, just like we were announced with a lot of these, movies as well, with Shazam and, The Flash and everything, which, hurts my heart, because I love me some Zachary Levi, just give me more of him in any way, shape, and possible. Right. But I just know for It definitely does make sense. There's just no right way to really go about this because it varies state to state. It varies community to community. And also, let's be honest, there's, some of these studios are trying to think, it's just too financially risky to even put the investment to market these movies and put them out into a theater that is already high risk already to put into theaters, so it really, honestly, it does make sense that more of these bigger movies are going to be going into strictly on demand, though, very, very soon. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, honestly, 355 ends up becoming an Amazon, property or something. I would, I don't know.
I agree with you. I think that's certainly possible. Looking at next year, here we go. April 2nd, No Time to Die of next year, right? Then you've got A Quiet Place Part 2 on April 23rd. Then May 7th, Black Widow. May 21st, Godzilla vs. Kong and Spiral. May 28th is Fast 9, Cruella and Infinite, which is the Fuqua film. June 4th, you've got The Conjuring, Micronauts, Samaritan, Jurassic World Dominion, Luca, Venom, In the Heights. That's all just in June. In July, Top Gun Maverick, Minions, Shang-Chi, Uncharted, Space Jam sequel, Jungle Cruise, and then August, Suicide Squad, Hotel Transylvania 4, Deep Water, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which I guess is the sequel to The Hitman's Bodyguard. And then in September is the Jackass sequel, Bad Guys, Dark Harvest, and a My Little Pony film. And then in October, Dune, The Last Duel, Snake Eyes, The Addams Family Part 2. November is Eternals, Elvis, Clifford the Big Red Dog, Mission Impossible 7, King Richard. And then in December, we have West Side Story, Spider-Man Far From Home sequel, Matrix 4, Sing 2, and The Nightingale. So a lot of movies coming out next year falling right on top of each other, a valid thing to be worried about, because just because a movie's coming out 1 week and has 2 weeks to stay alive or 2 weeks to make its money, it doesn't mean it's going to make a lot of money. I mean, this is what happened last summer. There was so many films coming out that you had to hit it right off the bat, or else you were just swallowed up by the rest of the other films coming out. So yeah, that does affect things for sure. So we'll see. It's a massive schedule. And just a real quick announcement. Tonight, I have Dan Murrell as my guest. He is back on the Outlaw Nation show tonight, and we're talking about this specific thing. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about what the future of cinema is, what the future of theaters are, with all this happening with COVID, all these moves of these movies. Dan is, he has that charts show, which he talks about the box office, but also he's been talking and writing articles and doing videos about what's been going on with the cinemas being closed, with Rego, with AMC, all of that. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty with Dan Murrell and talk about the future of cinema tonight at 6 p.m. PT on the Outlaw Nation channel. So don't forget to come and join us live for that conversation. Have your questions ready for that one, because I really want to get into it. It's almost like a mini interview with Dan about this specific subject, because since Dan knows about it so much. Might even try to convince Scott Mendelson to come on for a little bit and give us his points of views as well. He writes for Forbes. So that's happening tonight. So if you want more of this information or more conversation about this or get more knowledge about this, join us tonight at 6 p.m. PT. All right, Alex, we got a super chat here from John Cooper. Says, is it possible that there's too many movies next year, that it will be harder to make bank on all of them? I've been thinking about this for a while now. Do you think it'll be harder, Alex, or do you trust that people are going to run to the theater to see these movies?
No. No. They're not going to make money.
Okay.
It just because it becomes oversaturated. It's like when you go to a grocery store, when you see 20 bottles of ketchup, you look at all the bottles of ketchup, all the different brands and everything, and you're like, which one? I don't know. Is there a difference? What one is maybe a little bit more expensive, but what? I don't know. Before you know it, you're like, F it. I don't want to get ketchup. Right. That happens often enough when it comes to a very crowded weekend, month, or even year, sometimes for a lot of people. Yeah. Realistically, people don't see movies in theaters all that much as it is. The average family goes to a theater maybe 5 times a year or something like that, something crazy. So we got to be realistic. Now, as much as we are movie fans, John and I and all you guys are obviously, there's no real financial guarantee for a lot of these movies. So I do expect a lot of movies to try to secure get some financial bank by making exclusive deals, like you said, with like HBO or something, or something along those lines, because especially with a lot of these streaming services are like they're trying to set themselves apart, trying to buy new movies. I wouldn't be surprised. But if there was one movie that you listed that kind of caught my ear, headphone situation, where I was like, that will 100% make money,
which is,
and that is My Little Pony.
Oh yeah.
My Little Pony will make stupid money. Bronies are gonna go over there. They're gonna go see that movie, risking it or not. They're just gonna go for it. And I respect that. You do you, Brony. Okay. Yeah. I respect that.
That's for sure. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Let's see what else. We got some Streamlabs that have come through here. Let's answer some of these. Keith Archer said, as more movies get delayed and theaters close, could we see an increase in the price of streaming services as they become the only game in town? I think that's a possibility, but I think it's a dangerous line to walk, because Netflix raises their price every couple of years about $1, $2 or what have you, and people get upset about it initially, but then it's like $1 or $2. I mean, you're paying what, $15 if you bought the HD version of it for all this content, so it's it more than pays for itself. I think other newer streaming services are getting swallowed up here initially if they don't have a lot of content right off the bat, and they have to offer it at a price that makes sense. I think right now, because people, along with the fact that theaters are being closed down, though, people are losing jobs, people are on unemployment, people are trying to stretch $1 as far as it can go. The last thing that they want to be doing is having a streaming service that's going to come out and make them pay extra for their content. That's going to be an issue. So you'd have to walk the line. They might increase by $1 or $2, but I don't think you'll see massive increases. What do you think, Alex?
Possibly. It really kind of depends on the streaming services, because on some streaming services, I was like talking to Lucas last night, and I was like, I'm marathoning all these horror movies, for my 31 days of like horror Halloween kind of situation. And I kind of want to get Shudder just for the month so I can, watch all these movies, but the thing is, I know realistically though, I'm not going to get it, by the way, but the thing is, a lot of these, everyone has, as far as I know, like most of my friends and family, that have streaming services, they have more than one. They have at least 2, maybe 3. So they have like Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and Netflix, or, HBO Max, Hulu, or Shudder, whatever their cup of tea is. Thing is, it's getting so much more competitive between a lot of these streaming services. And also, in addition, a lot of these niche services that, offer like, certain genres like Shudder, or, Mubi, where they focus on more independent movies, things like that, where they just get much more competitive with each other. So when a streaming service is like, hey, usually we're $10, $15, F it, 25, it just makes it that much more difficult, especially when now a lot of people, they're struggling financially, where they're like, hey, we just got to prioritize, do I really need this? Can I justify the price of this service?
Yeah. We'll see. David Guido, I'm going to have to put you in timeout. I don't like some of the comments you're making are pretty disrespectful. So if you can't have honest discourse and respectful discourse in the chat, guess what? You're going to get put in timeout. That's how it works. Grow up. All right, let's see. A great point you made, Alex. Ben Reiner donated. He said, do you think it's wise to put the Batman after Dune? I would think the Batman would be better before, because the Batman seems more proven as a moneymaker, and Dune could be seen as a question mark with box office. I would think studios need money right now, in my opinion. What do you think, Alex?
I actually would think the opposite. Not so much, about Dune being more of a guarantee. It's to me, it's more like you want to, because of that, you want to make Dune, because Dune is hypothetically more of a financial risk, similar to Blade Runner 2049. You want to put it in a safer area. You want to put it in a safer, time of the month time of the year, that kind of thing, or whatever it might be. Versus Batman is much more financially secure. So you want to put it, be like, hey, it's just like Tenet. We know for a fact people love Nolan, so we're putting it out anyway. We're gonna risk it. We're going to see what happens. And same as the Batman. I cannot wait to see that in theater. I am vengeance. You had me at venge. Okay, so so because they're so confident in that movie, because obviously Matt Reeves. Have you seen my boy Edward, Twilight Boy?
Sure.
So with that being said, they're much more comfortable being like, hey, we know for a fact this is a much more financially secure movie. Therefore, we're okay with taking some more risks in terms of maybe where to place it throughout the year, or as far as like more of its marketing, tactics, things like that. So they're allowed to experiment as a result, a little more varied.
I also think it's coming out ahead of the Batman because, like I said, it's an Oscar situation, and the Batman is not done. The Batman has a lot more post-production that needs to be done on it, and there's shoots still happening for that. Whereas with Dune's pretty much in post-production now, so it's all about editing and maybe doing a couple of reshoots to get it all squared away. But overall, it's pretty much done. So I mean, this Dune is the way more closer to being completed film than the Batman is. And if you're going to put it into Oscar consideration, you want to drop that in the fall. That's where you're going to make your money. With Batman, you can build up the anticipation. You can spend a whole year kind of getting everybody hyped up for it. I mean, we were spending all this year getting hyped up for it. So next year will just be another version of that. We'll get a little bit more stuff dropping and what have you. But to be honest with you, people are really preoccupied by the fact that this thing is shutting down the country. So I think that's more prevalent in people's minds more than anything else. And they'll get hyped up for it once the train starts rolling again. I think people just want the train to start rolling again, entertainment wise, and then they can start being hyped up and getting all into it. But delaying stuff right now and delaying the Batman or past Dune, I think makes sense for what Warner Brothers wants to do with both of those movies. They don't want to put the Batman's not going to be ready to be released now in the spring and fall with all these delays in production and the stoppages and what have you. So push it to the next year so it completely rules the summer months. That's the smarter move for them overall. People might feel more comfortable, more relaxed by 2022 in the summer of 2022 to go see these films and enjoy themselves. So that's a massive possibility for there. So, all right. And do we have any more Streamlabs or Super Chats? No. All right. Keep sending them in, people. We got about 20 minutes left in the show before I jump on to host SEN Live at 10 a.m. Oh, this is getting shorter. See, this thing, I think I'm going to have to get a new stand. Anyway, I'll be hosting at 10 a.m. PT this morning in SEN Live. Alex, what do you have going on? What's going on in your world? What do you want to promote right now?
Guys, 'tis Tuesday. How do I know that? Because I talk with Rocha and I talk with Video Drew on Tuesday. That's how I know it's Tuesday. That's like the only way I know what day it is of the week. Because what is time? Let's be honest. Tonight at 10 o'clock Central, I am going to be hosting a show called Cinema Bias with Video Drew. We dive into our personal movie biases. So like I was talking about with Rambo, personally, when it comes to my personal movie biases, why I have or have not seen some movies, things like that. I'm going to be watching. I watched last night a Blair Witch Project last night for the very first time, and we're going to be diving into it in so much more depth tonight. It's the movie that spawned 1,000 found footage movies and horror movies along those lines. So it's definitely, you can argue about if it's good or bad, whatever, but you can't argue. It was definitely one of the most impactful movies of the 90s that we still talk about today as far as like horror films that are influential for sure. So I'm excited to dive into that. Also this week, tomorrow is Wednesday, so because I know what day it is of the week. Tomorrow I'm going to be hosting a show called Cinema Bias. It is my Schmodown themed debate show over at the Call to Action podcast, where we do a lot of verbal sparring. And tomorrow, oh my gosh, we have Brendan Meyer debating Mark Knopik.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Nice. I can't wait, guys. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. It's themed on the quirky mercs. I'm sending them their questions today so they can give me their answers. But it's going to be starting at 9:30 Central, and our ghost judge I can't tell you yet, but
Oh.
you're gonna pee yourself. It's so amazing.
That's awesome.
So excited.
Looking forward to it. And don't if you guys missed out on the call to action getting Mick Foley to do a cameo, go and watch that on their call to action Twitter feed. That was a blast seeing Mick Foley doing a massive shout out for Chris Jericho and then possibly threatening to get into the Schmodown himself. That would be a lot of fun. Bang bang to see Cactus Jack in there. My man Mick Foley, Mankind. So awesome to see him be a part of that as well. Here on the Outlaw Nation side, I already pitched the Dan Murrell Outlaw Nation show tonight. Don't forget about that, 6 p.m. PT here on the channel. Also this morning, we dropped a new episode of the Top 10 show that is up there on our YouTube channel and also there for you to download wherever you download podcasts. We're doing the top 10 films of 2001. You know, with the dearth of films coming out, where Matt and I have been kind of, trying to figure out topics every week that we enjoy talking about. Certainly that we just thought, well, let's do another year in film that people don't talk about that much. And 2001 was a fun one to explore. Yesterday, we dropped a brand new episode of Game Time. Jay Washington and Winston A. Marshall joining me on the show to have a little fun talking about NFL Week 4, talk about a little NBA Finals. Remember, NBA Finals Game 4 is tonight as well. And we talked about all of that, had another great show, another fun time hanging out with each other, doing our thing. And this week, don't forget, the Jedi Way is this week. The Jedi Way this week. Laura Kelly and I getting involved with all the Star Wars stuff. I think we're going to do our first live show this week. I'm going to confirm that with Laura. We'll announce the time, but it'll be our first live show. Look for it on Thursday. We'll be doing it together. And the reason is because tomorrow night is the debate, the vice president debate. That is going to stand in for an Impolite Truths episode. We're going to do like we did with the debate, the presidential debate the other day. We are doing a pre-show. We'll do a watch long of the debate, and then we'll do a post show where we talk about what you all feel about what happened during the debate between Vice President Mike Pence and Kamala Harris. So this is going to be fun debate to watch for all of us involved. So don't miss that. All right. That's everything to promote, I think, on my end that I've got going on. Let's move on to our next two subjects here, Alex. And please keep sending in your Streamlabs and your Super Chats, people. Got about 17 minutes left in the show before we got to call it a day. Our next subject is the King Targaryen has been cast here. The Game of Thrones prequel series House of the Dragon is happening over at HBO, and it's found its first cast member, and that is English actor Paddy Considine. This is coming to us from Variety. He is signed on to star in the series in the role of King Viserys the First, who is chosen by the Lords of Westeros to succeed the old king Jaehaerys Targaryen at the Great Council at Harrenhal. He is a warm, kind, and decent man. Viserys only wishes to carry forward his grandfather's legacy, but good men do not necessarily make for great kings. And remember that George R.R. Martin put that Viserys the First ruled over Westeros around 100 years after Aegon's conquest. His children Rhaenyra and Aegon II would ultimately fight a civil war over his throne that would be known as the Dance of the Dragons. If you're not familiar with Paddy Considine, he was in The Outsider for HBO. If you haven't watched The Outsider, it was a damn good show. He's currently in the third day right now on HBO. He's been seen in Peaky Blinders, Informer, The Suspicions of Mr. Witcher. On films, you've seen him in Hot Fuzz, The Death of Stalin, Cinderella Man. If you remember Cinderella Man, he's the friend of Russell Crowe's character of Jim J. Braddock, who ends up dying there at the tent city. And in Bourne Ultimatum, remember, he was the journalist in Bourne Ultimatum. He also wrote and directed the feature Tyrannosaur and wrote and directed a recent feature called Journeyman. And this House of Dragons series, Alex, is set a few hundred years rather, prior to the events of the Game of Thrones series, and tells the story of the House Targaryen. It's supposed to come out sometime in 2022. It's got a 10-episode order. So what's your familiarity with Paddy Considine, and do you like this casting as we go into Game of Thrones prequel series?
It's kind of funny because I know this guy, Paddy, from Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
That's the only thing I remember. I had to look him up because I was like, hey, it's that guy from Shaun of the Dead. Oh, cool. Good for him. Yeah, I was like, is he more of a theater actor? No, he's actually been in a lot of stuff. I had no idea. So I'm excited for him. I mean, it's pretty cool. The thing is, Viserys, he's a really interesting character. Viserys the First is a very interesting character. He's a good man whose children that end up end up going to war with each other that end up becoming the whole Dance of Dragons situation. So it seems like almost like a prequel to the Dance of Dragons. A potential another spinoff? Maybe.
Oh boy.
But but you know, so it's gonna be he's a very awesome dude. He's all about the peace. Everyone loves him. He's very beloved. He's a plump, stout fella. He loves his parties. He loves his drinking. He loves his women as well. You know, but he loves his tournaments. He loves sports. He loves games. He's beloved by all, you know, rich and the poor, because he's such a chill, fun-loving dude. But also something really interesting to note is that he was considered not so much a soldier, but he was one of the last great dragon riders. His dragon, he had a really great relationship with his dragon that, you know, when his dragon died of old age, he's like, nah, bruh, I'm good. I don't need any more dragon riding. I'm good for life. Nah, bruh. So I'm excited to see much more dragons, you know, potentially with this show. Obviously, you know, we got a little bit of it last time towards the very end, you know, dragon riding and everything, but I would love to see dragons take much more of an active role in the story, you know, when it comes to, you know, these really weird royals.
Yeah.
They're like creepy, dude. They're all creepy. They're all about incest and just hanging out with each other. And okay, whatever. We're just going to roll with it. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Keeping them magic together.
Haskell makes an interesting point here. Yeah, because this is Paddy Considine here. He's got a little bit of the Little Finger vibe. Yeah, a little Aidan Gillen vibe there. But yeah, good choice. I love him as an actor. He's got a great, like, just look to him. Looks powerful when he's doing his thing. Like, I've got one here. Let me bring up this other picture of him. That's a nice cleaned up picture of him. But there's a pretty cool picture of him where he is like, it looks like he's in the middle of a war, in the middle of a battle himself. And he looks pretty badass. And that's how you can, this might be the look they go for. Well, look at that. Look at that right there. That's a badass look when you want someone involved in Game of Thrones. Blood on him, the leather armor, the beard, the whole nine. Yeah.
But he's not supposed to be in leather armor and stuff. He's like a cool, stout, drinking, hanging out. He's like Robert Baratheon in his last few years. He's just hanging out and drinking like, hey, bro.
Alex, that is boring for a 10-episode series.
Oh, it doesn't matter if it's boring as in a 10-episode series because it's not going to be about him. It's going to be about his family. It's going to be about his kids that inspired the Dance of Dragons. It's going to be about dragon riding. He's not going to be going into battle. He's not a soldier. He was not around during any major battles in his lifetime. Just want to point that out there. He's not a soldier as a king. His kids are. So, and his dad was, but he wasn't. Right. So if you are looking kind of for that kind of vibe, that's a cool picture and all, but that has nothing to do with Viserys.
Okay.
Sorry if I just like
don't apologize.
Ruined. I feel like I just like ruined that look on your face.
Yeah, but that's weird. Why do you cast a guy who's that skinny if you're looking for a guy who's plump and pleasant? You know.
Wait, are you saying people can't gain weight for a role?
No, I'm just saying I don't know if Paddy Considine is the guy you necessarily want to go with for something like this because he doesn't radiate plump and pleasant. One of the things about Paddy,
just like Matt Damon also didn't radiate plump and super spy until he did The Informant. You know, I mean, he gained like 40 pounds for
right.
You know,
so. I know, but I'm saying the natural energy of the person. And with Considine, he's a very introspective actor, a very reflective actor in whatever he does. You rarely catch him playing, even in those Hot Fuzz movies. He has like this dark cloud over him, the whole Shaun of the Dead, rather, and even in was End of the World at World's End. He's got that kind of dark cloud over him all the time. He radiates a kind of darkness to him, a kind of reflective. Angela's Ashes, other films he just had in the world. So I'll be curious, and then maybe this is an incredible, acting job that he's going to do to kind of go against his natural energy. But I mean, I'm for it because I think he's an incredible actor. It's an interesting casting when the guy is supposed to be plump and pleasant and playful and blah blah blah. Why you cast someone like Paddy Considine who brings a lot more depth to his characters?
You know what I love about good actors? They act good. So
right.
they have an ability to act really good in a lot of different roles, and so I've got to keep that in mind. Like we can talk about how like a lot of these actors, like character actors in particular, like we're never gonna see Daniel Day-Lewis in like a bad grandpa movie or anything. Obviously, that would be completely against type. However, this is not that guy. Also who. Even if he was any actor would never turn down a role to be in a Game of Thrones show. Let's be honest.
No, true. Very true.
And that can also change. I do think that there's going to be a lot of war and battle and all that good stuff. Yeah. But the thing is, it's just not going to be with him. He is incredibly introspective. He also, he is a plump, playful, really awesome, beloved king. But he is also very intelligent. He is introspective. He is also a king that was very involved actively in the government. Things were handed to him, but he made an active effort to make his kingdom better. So he can be all of those things, and he's going to gain like 30 pounds. Just wait.
Okay. All right. I'll wait. Let's see. We have one Streamlab that came through here from Canada Rocks. He sent us something for us to take a look at here. He says, speaking of Paddy Considine, you should check out The Girl with All the Gifts, a great horror movie from 2016 starring Paddy Considine, Glenn Close, and Gemma Arterton. I love Gemma Arterton. Also, Alex, did you mean Hot Fuzz? I don't remember him in Shaun of the Dead. So yeah, he's probably Hot Fuzz.
It's from the Cornetto trilogy. It's one of the Right. I always get those two mixed up. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. You know.
Good suggestion, Canada Rocks. I haven't heard of that film. I do know this. I am going to start diving into some horror films over the next few weeks and kind of getting more into that horror. I've been kicking around an idea of doing a horror show here on the Outlaw Nation channel. So I'm just kicking around the idea. So would be kind of getting into some of the newer horror films and what's going on with this horror craze that's happening now. I feel this natural organic pull to maybe explore. It doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I'm just going to watch some of these films that have come out over the last 10 years and see if maybe I do have an angle in to create a show for that and find a good co-host for that as well. So, but I'll put that on the list. The Girl with All the Gifts. I like that idea. John Doe donated here. He said, round 2, Aragorn from Lord of the Rings versus Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. Fight to the death. So for future questions, what are you guys' fandoms? Games, movies, anime, cartoons, etc. And from one veteran who served in the last war, I get it, and thanks for his service, and John as well. That's I'm sure he's sending that out to your father there, Alex. And thank you very much, John. But yeah, all right, Alex, round 2, Aragorn, Lord of the Rings versus Jon Snow, Game of Thrones. Who you got in that fight to the death?
Are you kidding? It's Aragorn, obviously.
Yeah.
He's like 400 years old. With he was a warrior for like 95% of that. Yeah. So I love Jon Snow. Don't get me wrong, he's a great warrior, but
yeah, I'd have to go with Aragorn too, because I just feel like Aragorn would fight to the death if the cause was right. Jon Snow has fought to the death and come back from the death, so he has a little bit of an advantage there, I think, overall. But I would take Robb Stark over Jon Snow in a fight with Aragorn, to be honest with you. I think Robb would be a better warrior for him to go toe-to-toe with that would represent that house a little better in the battle. So that's a good choice, but I would say Aragorn for sure. I think with Alex and I, it's movies. I don't know much about anime, so she might have me on that. Not games so much. Cartoons, certainly, but I think movies or TV shows are the way to go for me. What about you, Alex?
Definitely movies. I don't watch TV shows all that much. I mean, I really don't. Like right now, I'm like my TV show that I have in the background, like when cleaning my house, is like Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like so that kind of tells you like what kind of shows I'm really into. Not much. That and I can't wait for like Handmaiden and all that good stuff, but I don't watch too much TV personally. Honestly, I wish I did, but
there you go. All right, let's see if we got one last. Let's jump into our last story because it's on the rundown here and it's on the thumbnail. So sadly, Glow will not proceed with season 4 at Netflix as planned. This is according to Variety. The Emmy-nominated Netflix comedy series about a troupe of female professional wrestlers had originally been renewed for a 4th and final season. Yeah, it had been renewed for a 4th season, but plans for that season now have been scrapped due to production delays because of COVID. Netflix spokesperson said in a statement, "We've made the difficult decision not to do a 4th season of Glow due to COVID, which makes shooting this physically intimate show with its large ensemble cast especially challenging. We are so grateful to creators Liz Flahive, I hope I'm saying that right, or Flahive, and Carly Mensch, Jen J. Cohen, and all the writers, cast, and crew for sharing this story about the incredible women of Glow with us and the world." According to an individual with knowledge of the situation, all of the series regulars have been paid in full for season 4. So that's a really nice thing that Netflix did as well. They probably didn't have to do that, so pretty incredible. Liz Flahive and Carly Mensch also released a statement. They said, "COVID has killed actual humans. It's a national tragedy and should be our focus. COVID also apparently took down our show. Netflix has decided not to finish filming the final season of Glow. We were handed the creative freedom to make a complicated comedy about women and tell their stories and wrestle, and now that's gone." There's a lot of shitty things happening in the world that are much bigger than this right now, but it still sucks that we don't get to see these 15 women in a frame together again. We'll miss our cast of weirdo clowns and our heroic crew. It was the best job. Register to vote and please vote. So, Alex, this is kind of a big bummer for me. I'm not sure how much of a Glow fan you were, but this is sad. I really enjoyed the show, and now we're not going to get Alison Brie and Betty Gilpin. They had gone to Vegas. Gina Davis was involved in the last season. So there was a lot that they were going to go into, but now it's shut down. How do you feel about this one?
I cried a little bit, to be completely honest. I did. It's, it kind of left on a cliffhanger a little bit. I didn't like cry. Yeah. I was just like, oh. It was like, there was a little bit of this. Oh, okay. There's a little bit of that. You feel me? Yeah. So, I mean, maybe it didn't technically end it on a cliffhanger, but it did for a handful of these characters. Yeah. Betty Gilpin's character, she was taking on this new potential producerial role with this, television company and things like that. And, there's so many really awesome characters and really great character arcs, and there's so much potential. And obviously being part of being a fan of Schmodown and everything, there is that wrestling aspect. Yeah. I don't care about wrestling, but this show made me care about wrestling in a way I've never have before. And and I really, really loved it. And it was just genuinely so good. Mark Maron was wonderful. I mean, so many awesome characters and actors and everything. It just kind of makes me sad. And so many, a lot of writers, female writers and directors and everything were behind the scenes. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Hurts my heart.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe we'll have ourselves a movie. Maybe there'll be a Netflix movie down the road where they bring everybody back. I think that was another aspect of this of two Alexes, because you got, like you said, 15 women and their schedules, and a lot of these actresses were kind of branching out. Alison Brie's been doing her own thing for a little while, so she's always had things in the hopper. But Betty Gilpin has kind of used this series to kind of jump off and do a bunch of things. The Hunt got released eventually, and so she's probably in demand for a number of roles. One of the actress who plays the Wolf character, she was in Perry Mason. She had a very big part in the recent Perry Mason HBO series. So there are a number of these actresses who are kind of branching out from this and doing their own thing, and maybe keeping them tied and on hold for too long. Maybe Netflix figured out this wasn't the way to go with these women. Pay them out for season 4 because it's not their fault that the season's not happening. It's a COVID situation. Pay them out as is part of their contract probably, and then move on from this. And maybe down the road, they'll revisit doing a movie and bringing them all together. And maybe they're reflecting back on their times being a part of Glow, because this show already lasted longer than Glow actually lasted as a real company and a real federation. So this could be fun to have it maybe down the road. We check in with these ladies 5 years from now and seeing what their lives are like now and looking back on their time wrestling and doing whatever when they were part of Glow. That could be fun.
Yeah, my only hesitation is just, they literally were in the process of filming
Yeah.
the show when everything broke out. And so, they filmed they could have filmed one episode or 20 minutes or
Right.
six to 10 full episodes,
Yeah.
Before it shut down. And so it's kind of, I'm really sad we don't get any of that, potential, story or anything that we've missed, because these were, where they kind of left the story is stuff that I was really excited to see the progression of these characters.
Yep.
So if they do make a movie, I would love to see it. I would love it to be a Netflix only situation. That would be amazing. Any form. Yeah, but you're not kidding. A lot of these actors have really used this as a really great platform in order to kind of spearhead into bigger, better roles. Betty Gilpin, not Brie Larson, that's not her name. Alison Brie, there you go.
Brie,
obviously, and so I wouldn't be surprised if that's also involved with it to a certain extent as well, because they couldn't really guarantee them for much longer.
Yeah,
so
it's true. Absolutely. We wish those ladies the best. We wish the creators of the show the best, because they really created something really sweet on Netflix, and good and complex and interesting. A show about women that didn't fall into stereotypes. A show about women that actually explored the relationships between women and the complexities of those relationships. For me as a dude watching this show, it was like a masterclass in understanding women even more, and how they view things, and how different environments, different upbringings, different points of views, different places that they're coming from, how that can influence conversations that are being had. And I thoroughly appreciated. More shows need to come out like that as well. So it's sad to see Glow go, and I hope at some point down the road we see these ladies together again as the Glow ladies, and see what happened afterwards. So could be fun. All right, let's wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for watching the show. I forgot to push you all to hit that like button all throughout the show. We had so much to cover. We have 220 you all watching us right now. We had almost 250, 260 earlier. 111 likes though. Let's get up to 150 likes as we're wrapping up the show here in the next 2 minutes. Please quickly move that cursor over and hit that thumbs up button. Give us a like. And if you're watching later, give us a like as well. The more likes, and leave a comment as well down below. The more likes, the more comments you leave, the more it raises the visibility of this show. So please do that. We'd appreciate it. Alex, where can they find you?
You can find me here at home building pies, making pies of rage. You can actually find me right here on Twitter. You can also find me at the Cult Action Podcast group. You can find anywhere podcasts are found. We are available there. It would be really awesome if you subscribed and checked us out. Like I mentioned, Cinema Biases Tonight. You can find it on YouTube, and you can also just search us on YouTube, dude. That'd be pretty dope.
There you go. There you go. You can always find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. Juan Ortiz, thank you so much for subscribing during the show. I love to give shout outs to people who subscribe when they're doing it during the show, or if I catch it afterwards at the beginning of another show. So please give us some love. Keep subscribing to the channel. We got to bust through that 15,000 subscribers mark and start marching to 20,000 subscribers as well. So give it some love there. Keep supporting the show. Keep giving some love as well by sharing the show on your social media. When you share it, you're telling your friends and family this is a show you like, and maybe to encourage more people to get aboard the Mornings with the Outlaw train. So, all right, thanks everybody for watching us here. Don't forget SEN Live in about 11 minutes. I'll be hosting that today, having a lot of fun with the crew there. Roxy and everybody joining us, Ben and Kate Mulligan, I think, and RB3. A lot of people. I think Winston might be on as well. So it's going to be a hell of a crew. A lot of fun on this Tuesday morning. Much love to all of you. Thanks so much. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here on Thursday morning of Mornings with the Outlaw. What do we tell them, Alex?
Wear a mask, guys, so I can go to a theater. Please.
Yeah.